And now, the Kill or Be Killed podcast with Damian Ross, founder and master instructor of the Self-Defense Company.
And we're live. What's going on,
There we
man? So we say, rest in peace, Coolio.
Yes, holy shit, 59 years old.
Yeah, we said he had a heart attack or some shit.
Yeah, I was reading something about he went into the bathroom and fucking never came. They went looking for him. Found
I
him
mean,
fucking
there's
dead
so
on the floor.
much shit. I mean, obviously people die, but when you're, I don't know what level of shape anybody's in. I don't know if he's doing any drugs. I mean, he's like, yeah. I mean, fentanyl. Again, I don't know, right? Who the hell knows? But it's a shame. Now he's definitely living in a gangster's paradise.
That's right.
At all, chestnut.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So
You just pissed off a couple people, but that's all right.
Right, whatever. So now, yeah. So you're talking about we're just offline. We're talking about the weapon retention program
Yes.
that we have, Guardian, and you would think, and now that CCW is available in New Jersey, and I should be hearing something. I got all my shit in, all my qualifications done, so I should be hearing something in about 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh, that weight is still going on it.
Which means I should have it. I mean, our county is issuing them, and it's fun. Like judges, like it's so like, they compare a lot of this stuff to like Brown versus Board of Education with segregation in the South, where, once they said, okay, the kids are, entitled to go to school, then they've made up all these other crazy zoning laws, and everybody's throwing up roadblocks to block it. But at the end of the day, it's eventually going to be found everything's going to be unconstitutional. Like we had one guy from a judge from Ocean County. I saw he put down, the restrictions on an affidavit. Everything from you couldn't carry in your car. You couldn't. Yeah, you had to have it separate. Right now, you have to have your ammo and your firearms separate and locked, apart from one another. You couldn't have, you couldn't bring it any place where alcohol was served. You couldn't bring it in any public schools, public, government buildings and things of that nature. And my feeling is, obviously, if you're, all this is technically unconstitutional, right? So, because, first, again, if you're carrying a firearm, you can't drink, period, done.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's should be kind of common sense, but you should be doing that anyway. But if I want to take my weapon to a bar, yeah, I should. I mean, these places get shot up, bars, nightclubs, all the time. I mean, California, just again, the strictest gun laws in the United States leads in active shooting events and mass murders.
Exactly.
So, what you're basically doing is telling, people where the targets are going to be, and the fact that people don't, these are lawmakers and elites don't, think about this. Again, these are people who have security details, who work in buildings with metal detectors and guards, and you can't walk in with a firearm. So, I mean, you're looking at, schools. Look what happened in Uvalde, right? I'm like, there's, cops, were there. That's your government at work. And what did they do?
Exactly.
Right. So, but then again, it's like I get, there's, even when I carry, I'll also have body armor with me. I'll also have pepper spray and an edged weapon. I've got like comments, I get one comment, like these things stick out, that are like, what would I need a bulletproof backpack for? What would I need this for? And from a guy who carries a firearm. I'm like, what? Okay, let me ask you, what instance do you think that you would need to use a firearm? Oh, someone's using deadly force. Okay. Well, an active shooter. Okay. You hear shots fired. While you're trying to locate the threat, you deploy your armor. Even if you're running away from it, you've got and you don't deploy it, you got double protection of armor plus anything else you got in the backpack. So, exactly. So they do you carry pepper spray? Do you carry, because again, if you're only carrying a firearm and you don't train in any form of close quarter combat, right? You don't keep yourself in physical shape. You don't carry pepper spray. All you carry is your firearm. You're only leaving yourself one option. Well, two options: run away or shoot the dude. And that's
Exactly.
like we were talking about regarding weapon retention before, and advertising the gun people don't even want to know about that, where they can't imagine being in a situation where someone will try to take their gun away from them, which is the number one argument of every gun control lunatic, which is like, well, somebody will just take your gun away and use it against you. I go, yeah, go ahead. Right. So, but they just think, to your point before, it was, oh, I'm just going to, shoot myself out of it.
Yeah. Well, and and it's frustrating as shit, because I don't know how many videos that we see of even cops, not being able to necessarily retain their firearm, because if somebody's going to go and try and take a fucking gun from a cop, guess what? They're going to try and take a gun from you too.
Even more so, because they're like, fuck you, if they don't think you're a cop. So if you look like you can't handle yourself, you're going to get challenged. And that's where, and now, because you've got to, I carry a firearm, I have a responsibility to protect that firearm, period. That is what, that's how I view it. And if you think that, you don't have the responsibility to control and maintain and exercise caution while carrying firearm, don't do it. I would carry pepper spray before I carry a firearm.
Yeah.
And this is why, people like, so again, you're leaving there's, if you have a question and somebody's in your space, you can just juice them and fucking get out of there. It gets dicey with law enforcement, because if you have to apprehend a subject, now you're entering into that, you're going to get affected by the pepper spray. Exactly. That's why you use overwhelming force, and that's why you don't go one-on-one with anybody unless you're attacked. Then you're in a fight, and all bets are fucking off. Like the video of the Good Samaritan video we talked about a while ago. So, again, where these people are, thinking a gun's going to solve all their problem, or they don't need one. There's obviously, we see many, many examples of civilians and, using firearms to stop violence. Right. So that's a fact. It's still a small percentage. Most of this, again, even if it's questionable, fucking hit them with the pepper spray and get the fuck out of there. Really fucking simple.
Or if you're in Brampton, Ontario, Canada, just carry fucking swords.
Yeah, right. That was fucking crazy. So everyone knows what George is talking about. There was there's literally a sword fight.
Yeah, it was a video. So Brampton is just outside of Toronto, right? It's about an hour and 15-minute drive from me. I'm a bit north of it. But yeah, it was a gang-related like sword fight. All these fuckers were like chopping at each other and everything in the streets.
Yeah, good. Right. Who needs guns?
That's exactly.
You had freaking, speaking of, places with restrictive gun laws. So you saw in Russia that 17 were dead, 24 wounded in school shooting. So
here we go, talking about school shootings again, and all these people are like, oh, it'll never happen, right? It'll never happen.
Right. Again, Russia went as far back in May of 21 to have psychological checks on anyone that wants to possess any kind of firearm. So they don't know where the gunman, the gunman found, got the weapon, what kind of weapon it was, but he shot, he killed 17 and wounded 24 others. So you're thinking it is some sort of, automatic weapon, definitely semi-automatic. I don't want to say the guy's name. He was a graduate of the same school. He came back wearing a t-shirt that had Nazi symbols on it. Obviously, this dude is, got massive mental health issues,
A
as
little
usual.
unbalanced, yeah.
So killed 17 people, including 11 children, and government, Russian Vladimir Putin, of course, deeply mourns the president. See if there's anything else in here about Russia's National Guard. Yeah, so Russia's National Guard said he used 2 non-lethal handguns adapted to fire real bullets. Huh.
That's those are pretty impressive results for that.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Right. So the guns were not registered with the authorities. A criminal investigation of the incident has been launched on charges of multiple murders and illegal possession of firearms. Yeah, a little late for that. A school which children teachers aged 6 to 17 is evacuated area. All right, the attack comes at a critical time. Which, okay, yeah, we know fucking got to warn Ukraine. Hours before the school, a man opened fire and wounded a military recruitment officer. Okay, that's got to be a separate shooter. Saying a guy shot a officer in the military recruitment area. Any shooting at the school is for deep concern authority families, but Russians are saying that this is not a frequent occurrence in Russia. Of course they are. It's not technically, it's like once. Look, we'll all agree that once is too much.
Yeah.
Right. And there's something that's happened when it comes to mental health. And it seems to me, again, I'm talking out my ass, this is just me looking back at my life on this planet for half a century, where when I was younger, it was more, there were school shooting incidents, obviously not as frequent. Columbine opened the door, right? So you have internet, you have mass media, this was the next level, right? You've got, it's a combination of a lot of things. It just seems like when I was a kid, there was more like cults and kidnappings and serial killers than there are school active shooters. There's still serial killers and there's still active shooters. It just seems that, these guys, these things moved. It just kind of shifted because we're more public, coupled with the fact that, look, we've got, violent media, violent video games. Again, not the cause of it, but kind of giving these guys a model where they're just looking at body count.
Yeah.
So were these
kids... Speaking there of serial killers, have you caught any of that Netflix thing on Dahmer?
Of course. Yeah, I watched it. Definitely.
Quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Holy shit. But the guy who plays his dad is Doback from Step Brothers.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, dude, so I keep falling back into that movie as I'm watching it. It's
Jesus.
It's a little distracting for me. It's like I remember that time, and again, we're talking about police. I remember the part with the 14-year-old kid and him getting escaping and then the cops bringing him back. I remember them talking about that. And, you're watching this and I'm reflecting back and I'm like, you know what? I'm like, yeah, there's a lot to that. Guys not want, look, they see gay, they see poor, they see black, right? It's like, they're like, fuck them, too much paperwork. They didn't even ask for the kid's ID, right? He couldn't even speak. They didn't call a fucking paramedic. What are you? The guy's not coherent. He could be dying of alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
Right? Regardless if you think, his proof was naked Polaroids he took with the kid like a few minutes earlier.
But they're just like, meh.
Yeah, it's like, no, it's a gay thing. It's okay. I'm not going to judge, all that shit. You're like, holy crap, man. Yeah. And then the 911 call from his neighbor after the actual call. Dude, I never thought in my life I'd be actually rooting for Jesse Jackson.
Jesus.
When he showed up, I was like, yeah, there's a problem here. I'm sorry. There's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, and, you know, again, you know, you're looking at like, think about, you know, the woman living next to him, you know, no means of protecting herself. The cops aren't even responding to her when she's hearing noises in the apartment next door.
Yeah, and
You
that
want to talk to
foul
me
ass
about,
smell.
and you know, when people do this, again, we get back to fucking gun control. You know, you're like, dude, you think you want to punish me. You're not punishing me, you're punishing her.
Yeah.
What is she, you know, the cops, they're not coming, right? People don't do their job for a variety of reasons.
Yep.
Right? I mean, and there's bad culture and good culture. You know, there you had a department. I mean, again, look at Uvalde, look at, you know, the dude down at Stoneman Douglas who just fucking abandoned his post. You know, when you're, you know, these guys, like, holy shit. I mean, unbelievable. And then his thing was like, you know, I kept doing it. It was easy.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, I keep getting away with it. You know, you guys aren't stopping me.
Exactly.
You know, so, you know, we're watching this, like we will look at everything from like a self-defense perspective, right? You know, so we're like, you know, what's the exposure here? You know, I mean, any of his fucking neighbors, I mean, he was just living and hunting, you know, in an area that was just largely ignored.
That's right.
You know, so yeah, now they got the Dahmer tapes coming out, I think this week. Something coming up about his actual recordings, his audio recordings.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Yeah, from his I guess his attorney, who was you know, she's a young woman that they gave the case to. Yeah, I mean, just really disturbing, you know, and you know, the whole thing, you know, it's like what, excuse me, and I like what makes someone like that. I mean, of course they allude to him being, you know, the mom being on all kinds of drugs, you know, when he was pregnant, and then, you know, him being alone, you know, his 18th birthday, you know, his senior year of high school, right? You know, where the dad's off and he thought the mom was there, the mom fucking left, and yeah, man.
Yeah, shit could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. I mean,
could have been a lot worse, dude. Like, you need to go out and eat half a town.
yeah, right. You know, and again, you know, yeah, they had him multiple times.
Well, I don't know how many times you hear about that, right? They've had serial killers, and for whatever reason, just let them fucking go.
Well, it gets tricky because, you know, you're working at the, you know, you're worried about your liability, right? On some point, of course, you know, and, you know, you're trying not to, you know, present yourself as a, you know, overstepping your authority, right? But then there's also an element of laziness, not trying to fucking deal with this, or trying to cut somebody a break. Like when he was pulled over and he was 18 and he was drinking, he had the kid's body in the bags in the back of his car. You know, cop, you know, was probably trying to just cut him a break. Right? It's just like, hey, you know, and that's, you know, you're looking at it. I mean, we're looking at it as a, you know, viewers from the perspective of, holy shit, he's got body in the car, just poked the bag. You know, cops looking at it as an 18-year-old kid. Again, early 90s. I mean, drunk driving was a thing, but not like as big as it is now. Yeah. So, you know, the fact that they let him drive off on his own, usually it'd be like, okay, leave your car. We're going to have somebody pick you up, or we're going to drive you home. Come get your car later. Tough shit. That was kind of like your punishment.
Yeah.
For driving drunk. So, yeah, the fact that he let him drive is just odd. But again, you know, 1990, you know, this was 80. Yeah, this was in the 80s. So, yeah, that was still definitely going on. So yeah, just, you know, again, another, you know, argument for gun control. Yeah. You know, against gun control. You're like, dude, cops aren't there. They're not there. They can't be there. They're not supposed to be. There's not enough of them.
Right.
Everybody's responsible for their own safety. And you look at the stuff and, look what just happened in Russia, where there's strict gun control laws, California, Illinois. We're going out to Chicago this weekend. My son's got a prospect camp at University of Chicago. And, I'm like, looking at a place to eat. I'm like, what's the neighborhood like? Whenever you go to a city, any city, you got to find out what the neighborhood's like. Where am I going?
Yeah.
Right. Unless it's like, if it's like a small town, but still it's like, I'm going into any place. I'm like, where am I going? What's the neighborhood like? And these are going to be my questions, when I go out there. It's like my nephew was graduated from U Chicago, but he's giving me places to eat. I go, yeah, what are those neighborhoods like now?
Exactly.
So that's a big thing. I'm going on a plane with just carry-on, so I'm going to be limited to what I can take. Right. I'm definitely taking armor with me, but shit. Can't take any edge weapons. Can't take any pepper spray. I'll probably pick something up when I'm there. I don't know. It's going to be gonna have to keep things very tight. If I had a suitcase, I'd be able to pack all the pepper spray, shit like that. What I normally would carry, but yeah, I can't. We're in and out for like 2 days. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. Good times.
We'll do a podcast while you're there. We'll hear the fucking bullets, shotguns and fucking bullets flying behind you and everything,
Right. Exactly. Get the camera out. Get the camera out.
And speaking of, so I went to see my parents the other day. Had a decent visit. My brother was there, and I guess on TikTok there's this fucking guy who goes into all the different cities with like the most quote unquote hardcore gang members, and then fucking like will make comments at them and shit, or fucking challenge them, or fucking stare at them to see the kind of reactions and record it. And first of all, I don't know how this guy's not fucking dead yet, but have you ever watched any of those clips at all?
Of what clips? I'm sorry, I got fucking distracted.
So it's like me moving around. So no, this fucking guy goes in. He's a white guy, right? Not the biggest guy, but he'll go into areas where there's all these fucking gangs, and he'll start squaring off against fucking gang members or making comments at them, while other people are recording to see the responses that he gets. Have you seen any of these?
Right. No, I haven't.
You got how this guy hasn't ended up fucking dead yet. I don't know. I've seen a couple TikToks where, or on YouTube where guns been pulled on him. Right. And he'll be walking down the street and he'll pick some fucking guy standing against the fucking wall or whatever, and then just start making fucking comments at him, right? Just for shits and giggles. Right. And he travels to do this. He's got a huge following.
I'm sure he does.
Right. And I'm just like, yeah, what the fuck goes on in your head that makes you want to do this?
He's operating under the premise, and I haven't seen any of this, but this is like even, guys, people generally don't want to have physical altercations.
I'm going to pull up a couple for you for the next podcast that we do, so we can actually show these and discuss it, because it's unfucking believable.
100%.
Seeing this guy do this.
Yes, and then that bombshell. Okay, that's it. I'm good.
You guys have something to look forward to next time now.
Yes, exactly. Until next time, tread honestly.